So hi, Abby.
Hi.
You came in so excited to tell me about your feelings about the evening. I invited Abby to go to a Metro Focusing celebration of their 10th year anniversary with me. And you were saying it was a kind of spiritual experience.
Yeah, it was so exciting to see a combination of focusing with all these other creative avenues, from like spirituality to arts. These are the things that I've been personally exploring, my creative side and my spiritual side and like my humanistic aspects of life. And just seeing it all combined to one with the practice of focusing was very powerful.
I can see that, this whole array of things that you're really excited about, areas that you really want in your life, and they all sort of came together in focusing.
Exactly. There are so many of my friends who could benefit from focusing. It felt like there was just so much desire and want in that room yesterday.
Desire and want.
From the people who were there to like leave more of an imprint with their lives. And for me, I've been toying with this concept of how to bring more of these gems to larger public, especially I work in a very corporate setting. I really see a need for it.
Yeah.
I just feel like really empowered to bring it into the larger world by learning these practices.
You got so excited about, this is what I need. I could bring this into the world in a different way.
I think the world desperately needs it. And I see so many people suffer at different levels of the organization, like leadership level to the worker level, and everybody is at odds with each other because the environment that's set up, and people don't know how to communicate. And then with focusing is really getting in touch with yourselves. And I think so many people in corporate are just so dissatisfied and lost.
People dissatisfied and lost, and then you felt in this room, and we were going around looking at all of these signs of 52, I think there were, programs that Metro Focusing did on all of these creative avenues that you could use with focusing, and then you felt like that gathered everything in for you in a way.
Yeah. I delve into ceramics, tango, and
I love
meditation. For example, in tango, there's something called the pause, like between partnership dances. It's a relationship dance. And the pause is actually what makes the dance special.
That's so interesting because in focusing, we talk about the pause in conversation or the pause in yourself that makes the relationship.
And then there's also the concept of centering, which happens both in tango as well as in ceramics. Centering is a complete acceptance of yourself. When you're centered, then you can have that balance with another person. Being in complete whole existence and turning it on your own axis is the only way you can become a really good dancer, and how you can work with clay. It's almost like different philosophy and different aspects of pursuits coming really together that was brought to yesterday's session. Yeah.
So this is a good moment for that pause, to just see how it feels to say all of that, to take that in. To feel all of that, what you were feeling yesterday in that room, and tears came to your eyes. In that meeting.
I think I just feel so sad, a well of sadness. It was like kind of like partly self-pity, but also partly just like a deep sense of sad and grief for others. Because I think some of the posters, a couple of things really. One is interpersonal conflict, like being in conflict with yourself and being in conflict with other people in community. And the other aspect is overwhelming sense of like how many people are suffering from that sense of like lack of aliveness. That really just drags me down, and it's something that I'm actively trying to fight off, and like I have many existential crises like all the time, because I just feel like this voice in my head that's like, Abby, there's more. Like, you are meant to do more, like something more with your life, you know.
This voice, this existential crisis brings this voice that says, Abby, there's more. You are meant to do more with your life.
something that's like much more serving to not just myself but to others.
Yeah. Let me just go back a step.
Okay.
That when you were looking at all of those programs, the ones that really struck you were about conflict and inner conflict and about calling. And then this sadness of the suffering of other people and the sadness for yourself of you're feeling conflict or you're feeling lost or you're feeling like there's a calling that you know is there, that you want to listen to, you want to find in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel the universe like is pulling me towards action, towards something of impact. And impact comes in many ways, but for me, like my body just, whenever I am dealing with like healing practices or like interpersonal connection, people will come to me to have certain difficult conversations. Really wanting to, like, using business terms, leverage,
leverage that ability that you have
for the greatest good.
Yeah.
And not to speak in like grandiose terms, but it's really just like I want to be able to help myself help others.
Let me say that back.
Okay.
That you want to help yourself to help others, and you feel that you can have this impact. You feel it in you. This ability to impact, to help difficult conversations. And you want that. I when you were saying that there was so much wanting and desire in the room, and then I can feel so much wanting and desire in you, such hunger.
Hunger.
Yes.
That's right. This impatient hunger. And I think this like desire to chase after it with all that I have.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Willingness to just engage. I have to just expose myself to it.
Yes.
So close.
That you have what it takes to engage, and you have this impatient hunger to do it.
Yeah.
I was noticing after the meeting that we went to the other night, and you were sort of determined. We have to have a conversation. We have to, and there was this wonderful vitality in that. Like, this has to happen.
I just felt like you had so much wisdom and insight that it's almost meant like synchronistically for us to meet at this point. And you are so influential, just like your presence. I've heard so much about you, and just witnessing your presence and ability to facilitate in that room, although being such a quiet presence for the most part, like when you do speak out, there's so much gravitas. So I know that you have something like incredible that I can learn from. And also your life, just the career of a therapist and the work you do is so meaningful and so impactful and helpful for so many people's lives. And that's something that so many people don't have the ability to have in the world. Everybody inherently wants to do something good in their own legacy, especially if they're moving more and more towards death. But there's no space for them to do that. And I just feel so sad, like just seeing my coworkers and myself sitting there like working with data and very impersonal things, and then craving for that liberty of just post work and on the weekends to share some time with their loved ones, and then like people really taking their time out of their like limited amount of free time to do pro bono work so that they can feel like they're doing something more for society than just themselves. Like people have that desire, just they don't have a space to do it. It's like an overwhelming sense of like angst. It's like existential angst for myself, but also for other people, and wanting to change it.
Yeah, wanting to change it. An existential angst for yourself and other people. The hunger, the desire, and the thwartedness, the stuff in the way that makes you so angry.
Yeah. There's just a lot of fear in this world. The battle of, I don't want to say it's a battle, but it's like how to bring more love and like how to teach people how to love and act out of love and fear.
you want to help bring love into the world, not just fear. And something about overcoming your own fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. And learning how to love.
And learning how to love.
Yeah, I think that's really like kind of the essence of being, and it's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And
let's just be with that for a minute.
Okay.
How that is in your body. That's in focusing. We always, see how something feels.
Yeah.
In a kind of sensual way. That
right.
wanting to learn to love, and that it's hard. It's hard to love. To not be so afraid.
Where I feel is like my chest is very overwhelmed with just emotions, and my heart here is like wanting to love, but then also feeling like sadness enshrouding that. It's almost like I have a sphere of love, like wanting to be radiated, but then there's a layer that kind of covers it up. Kind of like Dragon Ball Z or like Star Wars style, like where like light radiates and then there's just like a sphere and it's wanting to come out.
Yeah.
I feel that power, which part of like reason I really want to talk to you is I think like part of it's like the sphere that hinders it's resistance. And this power could be so much larger and more powerful.
So you feel the power, this power of wanting to love.
Of love.
Of love. The power of love.
Of love.
And it comes to here, and then there's this sphere around it, this resistance. And
it just stops. I think there's more to it, and there's something
that it should go further.
It should radiate, and it
should go out past that sphere.
It's osmosis. It should be like kind of like, imagine like a cloud. You're like a cloud, and you just spill over, and like everything you touched like is absorbed by it. And
I love that.
It's just
everything you touch is
it's
absorbed.
A mist,
A mist.
And everything that comes in touch with it can take some of that in and make it their own. It's like the air they breathe, because it's air, right? And you breathe in that love, and when they breathe it in, part of them transforms. I want myself to be that center, and I want to cultivate that in myself, but I think I also feel there's a lot of hindrances that prevents myself from doing it. And
you want to be able to cultivate it, that air of love, and you feel these hindrances. Maybe we could see for a minute what the hindrances feel like right now.
It's suffocating. Yeah, like I can't breathe. Like in my stomach, it's like stress, tension, and my throat closing up, my chest tight, pressure, and in the back of my head, it's just like a sense of stress. And it's like compressing me. It's a compressor. It doesn't give me room to be.
It's compressing you when you want to radiate out, and this is compressing you. In your chest and back of your head, this tension.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's this compressor is a fear?
I think it's like a battle, battle between like the inner and the outer, and I think it's afraid of being vulnerable.
That's what the intellectual says. That you're afraid. The compressor is afraid of being vulnerable. But then there's something else.
I don't know. My stomach feels something. I don't know what it is. It's like a battle of ego.
A
Right.
battle of ego.
It's ego. It's ego getting in the way. It's wanting to express a lot of heart, but then like somehow having frustration, judgment, and anger instead. And kind of like a little child battling back and forth and like projecting all these stories. It's a child. It stays small. But
the child is battling.
yeah.
And the child
Yeah.
doesn't want to have judgment, or the child is in battle.
The child is having the judgment.
Having the judgment.
The child's like, why? I can't believe you just did that. Like the child kind of like wanting to, I don't know, like maybe just, oh, I want to play with you, but I also, I'm afraid to play with you. Just like the, I don't know how to put it into words right now.
Oh, you were doing a good job. Let me say that back. The child is having a lot of judgments and fear and anger. And the child is saying, I want to play with you, but I don't want to play with you. There's a tug of war there.
Mm-hmm.
A part that wants to come out and play,
Mm-hmm.
and a part that's judging you, saying, oh, you shouldn't have said that, or that wasn't the right thing to say. Or
Yeah, I think it's like maybe the child, I'm imagining like me as a child, like 6 years old on the playground, and then there's like someone I want to play with, but then also being hurt by certain things they do. And then like because of that hurt, I don't let myself to like express more love. So I feel constricted in expressing how I want to feel because it's like a defense mechanism of, as a result, like wanting to label or create distance between me and that person. And so then like feeling sad inside, feeling like neglected and like maybe not valued, at the same time wanting. So like that kind of attachment of like desire and sadness is combined to one. And even though I want to express, like it holds me back from expressing that love.
Yeah. There's a whole sequence there of the child wanting to play and getting hurt, and then after getting hurt, somebody, the one you want to play with, is hurting you or rejecting you or not being nice to you. Then you're judging them and holding yourself back and angry and sad, and both wanting to express your care for the other person and not wanting to involve yourself with them because you're hurt. You're afraid of getting hurt again, maybe. And then you're in this place sort of all alone with the wanting and the desire and the sadness.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit on the nail.
Yeah.
It's like a self-inflicted cage. Caged. Suffocating.
Feeling caged and suffocated.
And not sure how to get out.
Yeah. Let's just see if we could have an image and see what would help there. Here's this little kid caged in the fear and the judgment and feeling alone and feeling such a wanting to connect, come out and play, and trapped in this place of isolation, in this cage.
I think it's stepping out of the cage, like on the playground, instead of like shutting myself in the cage. Imagine this cage being like, so think about it as a metal cube, but
a metal
like,
cube.
It's a metal cube, but like jail-like instead of like fully concealed. And you just simply just like flick it away, and you step out, and this wall that stood between you and the other person, instead of resisting them, just like hold them, like go up and give them a huge hug.
Oh, wow.
Like,
what an image.
being spacious rather than fighting.
Yes, yes.
And like wanting to show and give love rather than creating the story of how they didn't give you love.
Yes, yes.
And
yes.
this is, and then like, I don't know why, but it just like is this feeling of like, wow, like I could do that for that one person, but then all of a sudden on the playground, like I'm just like doing that for everyone. Like,
all of a sudden, you're
yeah, it's just like, gosh, let's all just play and like be harmonious and like engage and like all this conflict, so much conflict, but then like all of it's unintentional. It's just miscommunication.
Yeah.
And it just makes me really sad too.
Yes, yes.
It's like I'm that cloud.
Yes.
And like, because I like connected with this one person, other people see that and they want to be in it too. And it's not even like, it's just like not even me doing anything, it's just me being. And
not you doing anything,
it's just my existence.
being. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And that all started with this flipping the cage, the cube away, and that you could do that. You could say, I'm getting rid of this cage.
Yeah.
And then I'm going up to this person that hurt me.
Yeah. Hurt me. Quotation mark. Because it's the projection in my mind, right? It's not really them. Yeah. It's like this victim pattern of thinking that I am a victim, perpetuating itself when it's not really the case sometimes.
In this story, let's see if this is right though for the child.
Okay.
In this story, the person wasn't really mean to you, wasn't really rejecting, wasn't insensitive, but it was you making that up all by yourself.
It's like I'm kind of thinking back to like this one childhood instance.
Yes, yes.
Of like, two things. It's with this one childhood friend, and we were on the playground, and like I accidentally like flicked sand, or like someone accidentally flicked sand. It might have been him, and I like got annoyed, so I like flicked sand back, and it started this fight. Or like another instance is like we were at a school event, and then they were hanging out with someone else, and then I felt rejected because they weren't hanging out with me. And then it's this feeling of like neglect that came from it, and then a sense of jealousy for the other person. Two
different stories there, two different happenings. In one, you were hurt by the sand, but it was kind of an accident, and then you were sort of describing that before, how people get into these conflicts and don't know how to get out of them. And that it starts sort of by accident. It's not really the way it's meant to be or something.
Oh, that's so good. Wow, I'm so impressed. This is great. Yeah.
That was what you said, right?
You reflecting back to me, like, oh my gosh, it's tying the two together. I think it's exactly it. It's like not assuming positive intent and then creating a cycle of bad fighting.
Not assuming that they were really deeply wanting to hurt you. Right.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what flipping the metal cube away is saying, well, deeply they didn't want to hurt you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the other instance was of feeling left out and feeling jealous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Feeling not good enough.
Feeling not good enough.
Like in despair of just being shut in your face, like a door shut in your face, that kind of feeling.
That's a horrible feeling. So awful to feel like you're eager and willing to connect and wanting to connect, and then this door is shut in your face.
Yeah, to be rejected is not a good feeling.
To be rejected is terrible.
And then it creates this compression. I feel like, damn, I'm just gonna hold it in and just remove emotions, and then
that's the compressor.
Yeah, act cool, but you're not really cool. You're just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. Mm-hmm.
You're not cruel, you're sad.
Mm-hmm.
So you really got in touch with these two instances, these two ways that the compressor happens. And also, this wonderful image of being able to put it aside.
Yeah.
Go up and hug the other kid.
Yeah.
And
because they're suffering.
yeah.
Or they just need some love. Maybe they're not suffering. But it's always good to add love than to create dysfunctional distance, I think. Yeah, I think the world needs more of that.
I think so.
Yeah.